Several authors of science fiction novels have predicted the future amazingly well, just like the atomic bomb from The World Set Free or debit cards from Looking Backwards. But when Edward Snowden revealed the extent to which the NSA is spying on Americans, it's not as we should have been surprised. We live in a world that George Orwell predicted in 1984. This is why the book 1984 still matters today. The world of 1984 is divided into 3 countries that include the entire globe: Oceania, Eurasia, and East Asia. Oceania is a totalitarian society led by Big Brother, which censors everyone's behavior, even their thoughts. Even though we don't live in that kind of autocracy, except for North Korea, we can see a lot of similarities in our society today. In Orwell's book, there's a global war that has been going on seemingly forever, and as the book's protagonist, Winston Smith, realizes, the enemy keeps changing. One week, we're at war with East Asia and buddies with Eurasia. The next week, it's just the opposite, and everyone forgets about the previous war and focuses on the new one. There seems little to distinguish the 2 adversaries, and it's easy to draw the conclusion that they are used primarily to keep the population of Oceania, where Smith lives, in a constant state of fear. This, in turn, makes a dissent thinking unthinkable. Today, we have the so-called War on Terror, with no end in sight. A battle against an ill-defined enemy who could be anywhere and anything. This leads to generalized societal fear of being at war, which in turn preserve the special mental atmosphere of an established hierarchy over the individual. Because when being at war, the individuals of the state must rely on the government in order to win or survive the war. They are their only hope. This will increase the influence and power of the government, and it's a way to control people. In 1984, a completely new language is created with the purpose of confusing and persuading its citizens into a certain way of thinking. The language, Newspeak, follows the same general rules and patterns as English, but it eliminates all negative words to minimize the possibility of crime think. For example, bad is ungood in Newspeak. The trick about Newspeak is that it's similar enough to English to be recognizable, but at the same time altered enough to serve its purpose of persuading people into a specific way of thinking. Today, the media uses the same techniques to persuade consumers. For example, the media will likely call attention and point out the religion when the perpetrator of a crime happens to be Muslim, compared to if it was a Christian person responsible for the crime. That inherently leads to Islamophobia by constantly associating the religion with violent crimes. In the novel, nearly all public and private places have large TV screens that broadcast government propaganda, news, and approved entertainment. But there are also 2-way monitors that spy on citizens' private lives. Today, websites like Facebook track our likes and dislikes, where we've been to by using the phone's GPS, and registers which restaurants and places we've visited. This information can then be sold to governments, companies, and private individuals for a great amount of money. Then, there are the ever-present surveillance cameras that spy on the average person during their daily lives. The only actual difference from Orwell's book and today is that back then, the government forced the screen into our homes and everyone knew that the government saw them. Nowadays, we buy our own telescreens in the shape of a cell phone and hope that the government doesn't see us. What was first supposed to be satire has somehow withheld the test of time. At a first glance at the book 1984, the society is laughably exaggerated. But with a deeper analysis of the metaphors that Orwell creates, the readers are able to draw unpleasant similarities to our society today. What this means is that maybe we're all just Winston Smith, and the Big Brother is the modern civilian state.